Welcome back to Cossy Arsenal Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal looking to sign Ivan Toney on loan in January. We will not spend any of our budget in terms of signing a striker, but Arsenal will try to get one on loan if there is any opportunity. And Ivan Toney from Brentford is one striker we're going to be looking at in such a deal. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Is this a good deal in your opinion? Ivan Toney has not played football for almost 8 months. Yes, he's been training, but he's been away from professional football, competitive football for a very long time. Is this a good move from Arsenal? Does Ivan Toney win us the Premier League if it comes to that? If it comes to goals, if it comes to deciding games, if it comes to a striker that can decide games, is it Ivan Toney in your opinion? And a loan deal, what do you think about this one? It gives Arsenal a lot of leverage. It gives Arsenal a lot of, a chance, I think, I would say, for us to look at him and either decide to sign him in the summer or go, well, we'll just sign Victor Osimhen since Ivan Toney has actually not worked out. At the end of this video, we'll be discussing some of the other strikers that we can sign on loan, including one that you will never believe I put onto this list. But of course, let's dive into the story first. So first and foremost, it's coming in from a very, very reliable source, Tic-Tac Corner. He says Arsenal pushing to sign Brentford striker Ivan Toney on loan in January. Now, we know that the story on Ivan Toney has been there, and it has been coming from very reliable sources. Fabrizio Romano talked about it, that Chelsea and Arsenal are interested in Toney, and January could be a time when Arsenal really pounce onto the striker. Chelsea are more likely to put some money on the table in January as compared to Arsenal, but both teams will be pushing to get the striker at their stadiums. And I definitely understand why. If you look at the striker market right now, Madrid need a striker, Arsenal need a striker, Chelsea need a striker, Man United, apart from hiding behind the curtain of Haaland and Martial, they definitely need a decent striker, and many other clubs. I think Barca will need a striker as well. Come the summer or even come January, because Robert Lewandowski is kind of freezing up. So you look at the striker market right now; it's competitive, and you look at the budget that Arsenal will have in January. Ivan Toney on loan makes a lot of sense, in my opinion. Of course, you have your thoughts, you have your opinions as well, and that's why we have the comment box below. So Toney in January, spot on, absolutely spot on. Any striker for me that is not Edin Ketia to back up Gabriel Jesus, to team up with Gabriel Jesus to increase the goals tally at this team, you're welcome to the Emirates Stadium. Get that shirt number 9, or you can get that shirt number 14 if you want. I want a striker as badly as I cannot imagine. Now, when I reported that Arsenal will be focusing on a midfielder, I also thought that was a very good move, because Arsenal really do need an extra midfielder. Like a Mohamed Kudus would do wonders for us. A signing of a Mohamed Kudus would do wonders for us at the moment. I don't think we're signing Kudus. I think West Ham are comfortable with him, but I think that's a profile. That's the profile of player we're looking for. Kudus, winger, stroke, attacking midfielder, stroke, central midfielder. That is what we're looking for. So for me, Arsenal are not going to spend 50 million upwards on a striker. Arsenal are not going to spend 100 million on a striker in January. So you've got to go loan, right? Because if you decide to sign a striker for 30 million, 40 million, who are you going to end up with? Giacomo Raspadori at Napoli? That guy doesn't score goals, really. I mean, he doesn't score goals. He might score goals in the future, but not now. Gianluca Scamacca, I don't want to hear that name near the list of strikers Arsenal are looking at. So the average strikers, 30 million, 20 million, 40 million, and even 50 million, by the way, doesn't get you a decent striker in the market right now. I think a loan deal for Ivan Toney is very, very good. So this is what I think about it. Number one, it's a good deal for Arsenal. And why it's a good deal for Arsenal? It's easy to see. Arsenal get to test one of the best strikers in the Premier League last campaign for free, just paying his wages. And this is the deal. We can tell Brentford that at a certain number of games and at a certain performance, Ivan Toney will sign on a permanent, just like we did with Brentford. But what Arsenal are trying to do here, and why I think it's kind of genius, is what we did with Real Madrid and Odegaard. We signed Odegaard on loan until the end of the campaign, and Mikel Arteta went, this guy is going to be cooking. This is my future captain, and I'm going to splash the money. I will wait for Real Madrid to make that simple mistake, and Carlo Ancelotti absolutely got that Odegaard decision wrong. Absolutely wrong. Obviously, they have Jude Bellingham now. He's scoring lots of goals and all that, but I think the stage will be decided when we meet in the UEFA Champions League in the semi-finals, I tell you. Right, so I think it's kind of the same strategy they're trying to employ. Go to Brentford, get Ivan Toney. He's 25, 26 at the moment. You can get him on loan. If he does well, just imagine Ivan Toney coming in at Arsenal and scoring 15 goals in all competitions towards the end of the campaign, or until the end of the campaign. Sign that man. As simple as that. If he doesn't do well, Arsenal can then go, well, Brentford, it has not worked out. We don't think Ivan Toney is the striker, and we don't think Toney is the man for us. Then we can shift over to Watkins, Osimhen, Goncalo Ramos, anyone like Kolo Muani, anyone. We could go and sign anyone after proving that Ivan Toney actually doesn't work. It's kind of a strategy where you test a thumbnail. One doesn't work, you dump it, you actually go and commit to the other. It's something that I really, really do like a lot, right? So for me, it's a good deal for Arsenal. You don't spend money on a striker. You test one of the best strikers in Europe, and you could actually win the Premier League with that strategy. And Brentford will be looking and going, how did we give them the lead, right? By giving them David Raya and our best striker. How did we, right? But anyway, I want your thoughts there. Do you think it's a good deal for Arsenal, or do you think it should be a permanent deal straight away? Why I don't think it should be a permanent deal straight away is easy. We don't have any assurances. We don't have any guarantees. And Brentford will tell you, no guarantees on this man. There are no guarantees on this deal. You either take him and he works out, or you take him, he doesn't work out, and that's your problem, right? So it's a good deal if it's a loan deal for Arsenal at the moment. Secondly, I think it's a disastrous move, catastrophic move for Ivan Toney and Brentford. I'm sorry, I like giving both sides of the coin. So you're probably asking yourself, why would it be a disastrous move for Ivan Toney? He's literally going away from Brentford to raise his levels at a club like Arsenal. Why would it be a bad move? This is why I think it's a bad move. You are Ivan Toney. You're looking to further your career in the Premier League, and you're also looking to make sure that when you come back from that long-term suspension, you get firing again, because next summer is going to be absolutely key for you as a player. Next summer is going to be the time when we will know, will he follow the Yuri Tillemans trench, like just go Aston Villa and then decline, or will he go the Hurricane lane, right? So for me, if I'm Ivan Toney, I would stay at Brentford, like for the benefit of the player. At Brentford, you don't have as much pressure as there is at Arsenal, and the pressure at Arsenal is continuing every single day and it's increasing every single match day. The pressure that we had at the beginning of the campaign when we could draw against Fulham, and it doesn't hurt a lot, is not the same pressure when we lose to Aston Villa and we are displaced from top of the table right there and then by Liverpool. So you can sense the urgency to which we need quality players. You can sense the urgency to which we need every player to be operating at full speed and full quality. So if you're Ivan Toney and you're getting yourself into that kind of pressure after a long period of relaxation, it's not going to work out that quickly. He's a good striker, but I tell you, mentally, emotionally, he will need to be peppered around. He will need to be pampered. And you don't just leave a manager like Thomas Frank, a manager who is like one of the best managers in the Premier League, a manager who understands you, and a manager who knows what is right for you and exactly why you should be, at Brentford. For me, I think Toney, for his good well-being, he needs to start Brentford, emotionally get back in the game. He will score a couple of goals for Brentford, and they need him like they have never needed him before. Wissa, as a substitution merchant, has just proven that if a striker is scoring goals off the bench, please do not give them 90 minutes. It's a waste of time. Brian Burmo, without Ivan Toney, is not cooking, and they desperately need him. They really, really do desperately need him. So I think it would be a disastrous move for Ivan Toney. It would put a lot of pressure on him. It would put a lot of demand on him, and he might crumble and get frustrated. I could be wrong. It's a disastrous move for Brentford, obviously, because I think Brentford, when you look at their performances this campaign, the last game they've played highlights their campaign. They've lost to Sheffield United 1-0. And how they've done that? Easy. Brentford struggle to score goals at times, and at times they will score 2 or 3. If you're Brentford, you're looking to nail the top 10 positions. And if you have Ivan Toney coming back, Wissa and Mbeumo fit, that is more like a guarantee. It adds goals to your team. It adds, confidence, and also improves the way you play because you have your main target man, up top. So I think Brentford, they'll look into it and they'll be like, okay, he can go because he wants to go and it's time for him to go. But this is going to be disastrous for us, right? So apart from this guy, Ivan Toney, who are some of the other strikers that Arsenal could look at, and why? I think that's the big question. Which names can we try to sign on loan, and why am I going with these names, right? So don't worry, there's no Silo Immobile. He loves to stay in the Italian Serie A. We won't talk about him. Number 1 is Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku, and before you actually shrug me off, give me a chance. Romelu Lukaku is having a fantastic time at Roma. Tammy Abraham has picked up that kind of long-term injury, and therefore Roma absolutely need him. But I think if you gave him the chance to come back in the Premier League to prove himself one more time like this one, I think Romelu Lukaku would listen. I think Romelu Lukaku would actually answer. And what do Arsenal need at the moment? I'm sorry, we need a clinical finisher. And Romelu Lukaku is in between clinical and rubbish. But I think you also need that kind of bully up top. You also need that kind of guy that scores the kind of goals that we have not seen Arsenal score this season. For example, I can count the number of times Arsenal have scored a header this campaign. I can count them for you. Havertz, Brentford, that is one of them, and I don't remember the other. There could be, I just don't remember. So Romelu Lukaku would add that ingredient of a fox in the box who can actually head the ball into the net. That is number 1. Number 2, you have a physical target man, something we're looking to do with Kai Havertz. We have a physical target man who can rest that ball, spin in behind, drag players off their shoulders and things like that. I would love a player like Romelu Lukaku. There are not so many in the market, so if you're going for one, you would rather get Romelu Lukaku rather than Michy Batshuayi. Honestly, you would rather do that for me. Right, the next one on the list is one that you will love, and I do love, Alexander Mitrovic. Yeah, good one. I've got to credit my brain for thinking about this one. I think Alexander Mitrovic has gone to Saudi Arabia. A chance for him to come back in the Premier League and do it at the top level. He almost got a chance to do it with Newcastle. I think that wouldn't be a bad shout. I don't think Mitrovic would turn us down. It would be the problem of the wages. And also, there is all this, Saudi Arabia loan deals shouldn't be accepted and all that. But I think Mitrovic would be a good shot. Mitrovic would be a good player if Arsenal decided to sign him. Mitrovic would be this kind of guy that comes in and makes a real-time impact. What are we looking for? Headers and goals in the inside the penalty area. Those chances that Odegaard was missing against Aston Villa, give them to Mitrovic. You win that game 2-1, and you thank me later. The next one is Callum Wilson at Newcastle. This one is a bit of a difficult one, but listen to me. Callum Wilson was made for a top club. Newcastle are a top club. But I'm thinking, could Callum Wilson be thinking of establishing his own line of as a forward? I think he's under the line of Alexander Isak right now. He's behind Alexander Isak in pecking order. But if you gave him a chance, would he actually think about becoming his own man, becoming the main man, becoming an important clutch player for a club like Arsenal? Would he think about winning the Premier League? Would he fancy playing in the Champions League? Would he fancy that? In my opinion, he would actually fancy that. And I like Callum Wilson. I really do. Not very clinical, but he can get you some goals. At least better than the guys we are going to talk about next on the list. And that takes me to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If you're looking for a loan deal, Callum Wilson might not be available on a loan deal. Newcastle would prefer either to sell or to keep. As simple as that. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Everton is a player they can sell and is a player they can actually loan you, right? So I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin, just for that kind of cover, I'm not even really gassed about this one, but I would listen. I was about to say Eric Maxim, but I think his name is Maxim Choupo-Moting, right? Is him Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting? Choupo-Moting at Bayern, he has a weird story, Choupo-Moting, doesn't he? He's been at PSG, Bayern, Stoke City, Schalke 04. Like this guy, what are you? Are you Marko Arnautovic? But I like Choupo-Moting. He's become better with age. One of the strikers that are scoring goals, not really for fun, but a clutch, and they're reliable. He's done it for Bayern without Robert Lewandowski, and yeah. So Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting gets him in, and I think Bayern could consider a loan deal. Bayern would consider a loan deal if you are going to sign him later. Lastly on the list is Dusan Vlahovic. It's not one that you are going to get on a loan deal, but I think that would depend on the agreement you create with Juventus. I don't know why it is very easy for us for Italian teams actually to let go of players in January. I would consider Dusan Vlahovic, and I would also consider Olivier Giroud from AC Milan. I didn't think I was going to say that. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast. Which one striker would you sign if Ivan Toney doesn't come? It has to be on loan. That is what the finances at Arsenal are saying. We'll speak to you right in the next one.